Have you ever felt your heart race, your thoughts spiral, or your body tense up for no apparent reason? It's a feeling that many of us experience, but for some, it can feel like a constant companion. Anxiety seems to come out of nowhere, overwhelming us with worry or fear. But have you ever wondered why that happens? What causes anxiety to take root, and why does it affect some people more than others? Anxiety doesn't just happen overnight. It's the result of a complex mix of factors that come together in ways that leave someone trapped in a constant state of unease. Let's break it down. Anxiety is more than just feeling nervous before a big test or presentation. It's an emotional response to a perceived threat, whether it's real or imagined. It's the body's way of preparing for action, but when this response becomes too frequent or out of proportion, anxiety can begin to take over. Take Sarah, for example. She's a high school student who has always been a bit of a perfectionist. A few months ago, she started feeling extreme nervousness before every exam, even though she studied hard. Her heart raced, her hands shook, and her mind was flooded with thoughts of failure. For Sarah, this wasn't just a one-time feeling, it was becoming a pattern. And when we look at how anxiety develops, Sarah's story isn't all that different from many others. One key factor in anxiety development is genetics. Some people are more predisposed to anxiety because of their family history. If you have a parent or sibling who struggles with anxiety, you might be more likely to experience it as well. But genetics doesn't paint the entire picture. Environmental factors like childhood stress, trauma, or a history of bullying also play a significant role in shaping anxiety. Think about childhood experiences. When someone is exposed to chronic stress or trauma, like growing up in an unsafe environment, losing a loved one, or experiencing abuse, the brain starts to respond differently to fear and stress. It becomes hypersensitive, interpreting situations as threatening even when they might not be. Over time, this can create a heightened state of anxiety, and the brain's response becomes automatic. Imagine feeling like the world around you is always on the edge of chaos. It's exhausting. Life changes can also trigger the development of anxiety. Picture this. Moving to a new city, starting a new job, or dealing with a breakup. These big life shifts can leave us feeling uncertain and overwhelmed. The brain, wired to seek stability, often interprets this uncertainty as a threat, leading to increased worry and anxiety. Smaller stressors, like a difficult project at work or school, can also build up. But it's not just about what happens in the outside world. Biological factors also play a big role. Neurotransmitters, those chemicals in the brain that help transmit messages, are often out of balance in people with anxiety. For instance, serotonin, a chemical linked to mood regulation, may be low in someone experiencing anxiety. Dopamine and norepinephrine, other chemicals that help manage stress, can also play a role. When these chemicals are out of sync, it can leave the body on high alert, making it harder to stay calm in stressful situations. Social factors are just as important. The relationships we have, especially during childhood, shape how we see the world. People who grow up in supportive environments tend to develop stronger coping strategies, while those who face rejection or lack emotional support may become more vulnerable to anxiety. Today, social media adds another layer to the pressure. Constant comparisons and the need to meet unrealistic standards can lead to increased feelings of insecurity and stress, pushing anxiety even further. Self-perception is another crucial piece of the puzzle. People who struggle with low self-esteem or feel like they can't cope with life's challenges are more prone to anxiety. When you constantly worry about failing or feel like you're not good enough, your brain starts to focus on worst-case scenarios, which only feeds the cycle of anxiety. It's like running a race, but the finish line keeps moving further away. The thought patterns that accompany anxiety are often negative. The more someone worries, the more their brain becomes wired to imagine the worst possible outcomes. This constant loop of negative thinking can make anxiety worse over time, reinforcing the fear and stress responses. It's a cycle that feels hard to break, but it's not impossible. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT for example, can help reframe those negative thought patterns and teach healthier ways of thinking. So, what can we do about it? The good news is that anxiety is treatable, and understanding how it develops is the first step in overcoming it. Whether it's therapy, lifestyle changes, or medication, there are ways to manage anxiety and regain control. For people like Sarah, who might be feeling overwhelmed before every exam, learning coping strategies like deep breathing or mindfulness can help break the cycle of fear. And for anyone dealing with the effects of trauma, seeking professional help can make a world of difference. If you're watching this and you relate to any of the feelings we've discussed, know that you're not alone. There's help out there, and things can get better. Whether it's talking to a therapist, practicing mindfulness, or simply reaching out to someone you trust, there are steps you can take to manage your anxiety. So don't hesitate to take that first step toward understanding and coping with anxiety. Anxiety is more than just an invisible force. It's the result of real processes in the brain and body. And with the right tools and support, you can start retraining your brain, building healthier coping strategies, and taking back control of your life. If you're ready to start that journey, reach out today.
Got a question about how something really works? Drop it in the comments and we might cover your topic in our next video.